have watched 2 episodes. Crim is being sent up to purgatory right now.
I'm a masochist. I love hearing it. Just say it again. Hurt me more. Hurt me more.
The show sucks. And everyone who listens to it is or watches the show is garbage. If you like the show, you have the worst taste in all of like history, mankind. No wonder we got COVID because like wow. What's up, guys? You guys are listening or watching the Nii-San Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Josh L. Kim, and of course with me.
It's Crim. Hi. How you? I don't sound that obnoxious.
Dude, I like
normally.
your color coordination today. It's very on point. Look at that. Blue.
Are you sarcastic?
No, it's actually sick.
Hold on. Can we clip this? Yo, YouTube. I think Xell just complimented me.
I know.
This is the
I
first
know.
time. Hold on. What
Dude,
do you
Crim's
want?
looking fly. Okay, look, I'm just saying, YouTube chat,
What do you want?
YouTube, whoever's listening to this right now, just appreciate the finer moments of Crim's life.
This is weird. You're throwing me
Nice.
off my jam, dude. This is really weird. I don't.
We took too long to record another episode, so this is what happens. You suddenly get some compliments here and there. But yeah, you guys are listening to a new episode, and today we're going to be talking about the new season of anime that's come out, and this has been an amazing season so far. So a lot to talk about, but first we're going to go and talk about the Weeb Weekly, which is your source of anime and plus news. So that should be our thing every week. Weeb Weekly.
I'm sure our editor Don can probably just clip me saying that every time now.
So yeah, let's get into it. So I'll just start off by saying this has been a pretty sweet week for esports. There's been a big tournament this last weekend, or I guess when this comes out last weekend. Genesis happened, which is a historically big Smash tournament. So I guess turned into just like a broader fighting game tournament, and it was really exciting. Seeing a game
in my hometown, or that's
San Jose. It's up in San Jose. Yeah.
Damn.
So
of course it happens when I'm not there. Whack.
So like it's Genesis is dear to my heart. I went to Genesis 3, competed actually at Genesis 3. You can actually look me up back then.
So sweaty.
Damn, so sweaty, I know, right? This
sweaty
guy going to
gamer.
tournaments, am I right?
I could never.
Hey, can you drop me your DCI number real quick? Just
I don't know
check.
what you're talking about. I read
Yeah,
Marvel
okay,
comics.
yeah. Of course you don't know what I'm talking about. Of course. That was a test. So yeah, anyways, Genesis happened, but also the Valorant International is happening where a bunch of teams from all over the world are coming. And so what's exciting about that is basically it's the playoffs, right? And we have 6 teams from 6 different regions, and it's so hyped, dude. Like the Japanese team called Zeta, they keep like the Japanese fan base is so rabid for them, and they're like breaking viewership numbers in Japan every time they play. So it's been really hype, honestly. Like I haven't really watched that much Valorant stuff as of late, but this tournament really showed up, I think, especially with all the different like international teams that are there. Like it's exciting. So between Genesis
let me ask you
and
something. Because you've been like pretty close to like literally like almost hands on with the esports side of things. Right?
Yeah.
And I am curious, like, what makes the broadcast so interesting to you? Like I when I watch sports, right? I want the narrative of like, oh, well, LeBron James and Steph Curry have played against each other numerous finals, and so they're back at it again, right?
Yeah.
There's that whole narrative, that build up. Do you find that is something that matters in esports?
I think in Valorant, as of right now, it does, because the scene is so new, and every country and every like region is sort of vying for that top dog spot. And so the narrative right now is actually really exciting because we just don't know yet. We're like, when Valorant didn't have its first international yet, like the big storyline was who's actually on top, right? And like people were saying like, oh, Asia, like they don't play CSGO, they can't be good at this game. And then they showed everyone and they were like really amazing. But EU ended up winning. Like the Team Gambit ended up taking taking the top spot. And then it was like from there on, we now know that like every team is is capable, right? And with this latest international, it's like everyone is beating everyone, and it's so exciting because there isn't a top dog spot. Now it's just about like who can pop off the hardest, and make it all the way to the grand finals. And now it's just like it's just a joy to see the different styles of play that exist too. Like some of these teams are hella aggro, some teams are like very methodical, and so I don't know. Like honestly, even though Valorant's so new, I've been having a lot of just like fun, like keeping up with the storyline, I guess. So
okay, I mean, the obviously we've got a lot to cover, but one last thing: do you think something else will strike it big like League does? Like to watch?
Oh man, we could have a separate podcast episode just on this topic because this is my hot take. But I think long term, esports is dead. Oh, boom, bah, pish, pow. Damn.
But
I went there,
dude. I mean, like that's pretty spicy, but maybe we'll discuss that.
Yeah,
in
maybe
depth,
we'll delve into that.
On that note, we'll shift topics. That's right, listeners. Boom! Listen to that cliffhanger right there. Content.
Yeah. Ooh. If you get us to 2,000 subs, release a video. So you better.
Let's get to 1,000.
Okay. Sorry, I overshot a little bit. Or did I? You know what to do, listeners.
I mean, surprise, shut me up, prove me wrong. But I think, okay, let's worry about 1,000. But if somehow 2,000 happens, I won't say, oh, this sucks or anything. I won't be mad. I promise. Okay.
All right. What else? What else you got for us on the docket?
On the subject of video games, we actually just got an announcement for all you boomers out there, like that have played a lot of video games growing up. You might have remembered a game called Streets of Rage.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know about it or if you've heard, but Streets of Rage is getting a live-action film in development from the John Wick creator.
Okay.
Okay, so let's let that sit for a minute here, right? Like, okay, first off, I love John Wick.
Same.
Somehow John Wick manages to make such a mindless genre, but so captivating, so fun, and I can't tell if it's the mixture, the perfect chemistry between Keanu and just being Keanu, or because it's. I mean, the story is like paper thin, right? Man gets his dog dunked, so he's out on revenge. Simple, right? but the way he gets his revenge, whether beating, killing people with books, pencils, etc., like it has me hyped. I don't know what Streets of Rage is story-wise, but I have to imagine that the story of Streets of Rage is no deeper than probably John Wick's story.
Oh, hell no. I mean, so I played the remake of Streets of Rage 4 like 2 years ago, and I don't remember there being any story. So
John Wick
tell
has
you.
more story.
It's possible that John Wick has a deeper lore. Hey, yo, honestly, the world building in John Wick is actually pretty dope. Not gonna lie.
The Continental is sick, right?
It is, right? Like, it's cool. And so, I mean, that said, obviously, when it comes to the John Wick movies, it's all about the stylized action, and the way that they portray action is so... I don't want to say gratuitous because that's not the right word for it, but it is gratuitous, and it's also amazing. I personally think like the way they film and portray the action in John Wick is honestly next level, and they do such a good job with like designing really interesting sets around action pieces.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know. When I think of Streets of Rage,
choreography is awesome.
Yeah. And so what I was saying, though, is that, like, Streets of Rage is a 2D side-scroller. I don't know what the venues will look like. Like, is it just all going to be... I mean, it's probably not, right? So, I'm very curious what this is going to be like.
I mean, okay, I'm kind of curious, too. My main concern here is that please don't bring the headbands back. Don't bring the cut-off, the sleeveless shirts and the headbands. Let that die. That died. Okay, now bring it to current time. Maybe change it up, right? Like give one of the characters like a red leather jacket or something like that, right? That's fine. I'll take that. Just don't bring back. I mean, the muscle shirts, that's fine. Just the headbands. I don't know if I can handle the headbands and the fingerless gloves.
Fingerless gloves, dude. Oh, and the ripped jeans, dude. Oh, yeah.
The ripped jeans, like I partake in that myself, but with the fingerless gloves, the muscle shirts, that might be too much.
Dude, the tucked in muscle shirts is definitely a look.
It is. So we'll see. I can't wait. We don't know much about it. We just know that it's currently happening at some point. But like, yeah, let's see what becomes of the movie. And other than that, on to some other news, right? We've got the first look of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of Marvel stuff, it's not even a full trailer. It's actually just a teaser. Some people are like upset on the internet. They're like, that showed me nothing. I don't understand the premise. It's called a teaser. It is not the trailer.
Wait, they didn't just upload the whole movie? I don't understand.
Right.
Can you explain that to me?
Dude, I read these comments and I'm like kind of like palming my head in my hands. I'm just like, dude, you got a sample of the ice cream flavor, but you wanted the full experience? What? That doesn't make any sense. So go check it out. Don't expect the full movie yet. It's a teaser, and if you're a fan of that, then check it out. You'll have a good time. It looks great. It looks really fun. And Taika Waititi always has good, just hilarious comedy in all his movies. So
yeah. I'm excited for just more Marvel. Marvel does pretty good stuff, I think. So
compared to where we used to be. Oh, God. Remember when Michael Bay was like the standard? Summertime is here. Michael Bay movies.
Yeah. Woo.
We've been spoiled.
It's true.
I know that we're at
It's
that
true.
point where superhero fatigue, Marvel fatigue, but I haven't hit that yet because I've lived through a lot of summers watching a lot of bad movies.
So to change things up a little bit, talk about a manga that was recently released that's making a bunch of waves. Goodbye Eri by Tatsuki Fujimoto. If you don't know who that is, he is most famous for Chainsaw Man. And
You don't know that manga, you'll know the anime by fall.
Yeah, you'll hear about it.
It's going to be huge for sure.
And Goodbye Eri is a one-shot, so it's not like the serialized thing. It's a single story that you can read. It's only 200 pages. I know that sounds like a lot, but in manga terms, that's that's less than an hour.
50, that's like 40 pages.
Yeah.
In real literature.
And so, I read it the other day. I thought it was awesome. And so I know Crim hasn't gotten a chance to take a look yet, but we will do a full-on review of that later on because I think it's so good. So and it's available for free right now on the Manga Plus Shueisha app, I believe, or the what is it called?
Or again, no shameless plug.
Viz.
We are not even sponsored by the Shonen Jump app. It's on there, which by the way, again, listeners and watchers at home, the best $2.99 a month you'll ever spend.
Yeah.
Zell can prove it. I'm always on the toilet for 4 hours.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about your toilet habits, but you don't even need to buy the subscription. You can just read this for free. So I would definitely take advantage of that when you can. It is really, really good. And it makes it so much harder for me not to read Chainsaw Man when Goodbye Eri is so good. So anyways,
Chainsaw Man's a fun read.
Okay, don't tell me that. Okay. It's just an anime that comes out in fall. There's no manga.
Sure.
There's no manga. There's no
Whatever you
manga.
want.
There is
Whatever
no
you
manga in Ba Sing Se. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, let's should we switch gears and talk about the latest and greatest in seasonal anime news?
On to the meat of today's episode because Lord knows I needed this season after the last one. So
just like to speak broadly here, this season is just banger after banger after banger. Like, legitimately, all the shows that people were excited about, except one, were all very good. And even some of the shows...
I know which one you're talking about, too.
We'll get into it. And some of the other shows that, I think came in a little more under the radar were also excellent. And I think this is just shaping up to be a really great season overall.
There were many of those. Many things that definitely surprised me.
Yeah.
how good they were.
So let's take it from the top. Let's talk about our favorite, and it's not Shield Hero. It's Spy
What are you
X
talking
Family.
about? That's the one that surprised me.
Oh, sorry.
I'm surprised
Wait,
they got
really?
a second season because it sucks. I'm gonna get whatever. What am I gonna get exiled by the anime
Bring in the
community?
hate. Bring in the
What
comments.
are you gonna do? Tell me my waifus are trash?
Try and hurt me.
Okay, but like in an actually good show, and one with the queen herself, Spy Family. Yeah, let's go into this. 2 episodes have come out since the time of airing, and as someone who's completely caught up on the manga too, the adaptation is flawless. It's perfect. The animation is beautiful. Like it's not just you're like, okay, but Crim, I'm not a simp like you. I don't want to watch just romance stuff. Don't worry. It's also got some sweet spy, some action like vibes to it, and it's got a lot of good comedy and wholesome moments. I am in love with this show, right? Like this is I'm calling it now. This has to be the breakout of this. Like not like the one I think that is the best anime of the season, but I think it will be the one that will be popular with the masses. Outside of just weebdom, I'm talking just like anybody. Like I could recommend this show to my friend who watches no anime.
Right. Yeah, no, I fully agree. And I think, I was a little blindsided by the fact that the romance really isn't that a big part of it, really. Like at least 2 episodes in, maybe it clearly...
Oh, it'll be there, but it's good.
It's clearly building up to it, but I think these first 2 episodes really set the tone for, because these first 2 episodes sort of set up these... like the structure in which the comedy will ensue. Episode 1, we meet the father figure, Lloyd Forger.
Yeah.
And
Forger.
he's a spy, and he's undercover trying to, do his spy thing. And he has to adopt a child. And we meet Anya for this first time, and she is so freaking hilarious, and
and she's adorable.
She's so adorable.
Wholesome.
I will literally murder anyone for that child. Like she goes under that family of anime kids that I will do anything for and give my life for very easily. And yeah, she's great, and she's an esper, and so she can read minds. And so the dynamic between this guy who thinks that he's smarter than everyone and has outwitted everyone, but is in fact like completely read through by this little girl who is so like her antics are so childlike, but because of it, it's just so absurdly funny. And then the second episode, we get to meet the wife and
the queen.
Sorry, and she adds another dynamic to it because she is an assassin, and so we get this like really defunct family life that they've set up now, and the comedy I can already tell is top tier. And like Crim mentioned, the animation and art style is so crisp and fluid, and everything from like the character expressions, like that Anya, like some of Anya's expressions.
Oh yeah, Anya's
so
like
funny.
99.9% expressions in the manga, and like that was the big thing here, right? Like if they missed on that, it would be a huge disservice to the fans.
Yeah,
but they nailed that, and like as you had mentioned, it's so crisp. Like even the movements, right? Like you had mentioned it earlier that Anya's very childlike, but they capture that perfectly, right? Like the way she runs and waddles, like it's just like she's very much so the baby, right? And I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, I honestly, in 2 episodes, there's nothing I can fault in those 2 episodes. This is like a 10 out of 10 show for me so far, and I am just waiting for more episodes. So this is definitely on my like
gonna meet the
hypest
dog.
of hypes.
And he's gonna be so cool.
Speaking also to some of the other characters actually in Spy Family, like the sidekick to the main spy, he's this like square jawed guy, and like the character designs for the show are actually really great. Like I think sometimes anime gets a little too bread and butter with the way they draw certain characters, and I just think that Spy Family really goes above and beyond that. Like not only do you have kind of more adult realistic figures in the show, but then you have this kind of caricature of a child in Anya, but then you have these other interesting character designs all around that. Like, the show is great. So yeah, big ups to the show. I'm loving it so far.
Yeah, I this show has a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10 for me for this season. Like, I think this is just what you want. And God, that that proposal, maybe not realistic, but I want it to be.
You're not gonna propose with a grenade pin?
I can try. I just don't know if it's gonna work out well.
Yeah. You've heard of shotgun weddings. Have you heard of a grenade?
Dude, boy. I mean, hopefully it works out. But okay. So so overall, before we move on from Spy Family, what do you rate it? 5 out of 5 for you?
5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's perfect.
It's a banger. This is a safe recommendation. If you're listening to this and you don't watch anime, which would be weird because we've got a lot of episodes and you watched a lot of them. But yeah, if you have friends that don't watch anime, if you want to watch this with your family, friends, whoever, just this is the one. This is good.
The opening song is
so
good, and the animation
so cool.
It's good from minute 1, all the way to the end of every episode. Speaking of another show that has a banger opening and also is just a banger itself, Kaguya-Sama season 3. So I for anybody who, like, obviously if you're at season 3, you've watched Kaguya season 1 and 2, so this shouldn't be news. But in season 3, I feel like they have turned everything up to a full 11 in the show so far, and I'm here for it. Like just the first episode, they just go so wild with it, and the sort of over-the-top things that we kind of come to expect out of Kaguya-Sama, they've upped it even more, I think, in these first 2 episodes, and I'm just here for it. I love this show. You have to be watching this. Like, it's so good. What are your thoughts?
It's so damn funny, dude. Like, I mean, at this point now, has become such a wonderful supporting character. And I'm just like, okay, if you sit down and actually like kind of like add logic to why Kaguya would even try to have I be like this seductress person, like, and whatnot, I'm just like dying from laughter. Like, this is so absurd. And I love it. So if this is more than just your typical like romance, this is just like good comedy. I think this is just like good, hilarious comedy with lots of sweet interactions between all the characters. And the dialogue continues to deliver on what you already loved from the first 2 seasons.
I know this is semi-spoiler, but in episode 1, they have a skit around talking about Weeb stuff, and it is just so funny. It is literally hysterical, and like, as a once closeted weeb, like, I so understand everything that went on in there, and it just hits so like it just hits so close to home in such a ridiculous way that I can't stop gushing about this show because they just take everything that you've loved and they just keep adding on to it. And so, seriously, if you haven't been watching Kaguya-Sama, like, you are missing out so deeply. It is one of the most charming shows I think that's ever been released. I think it's like charm-wise, it's up there as like one of the most charming shows I've ever watched. And I can't wait for more episodes of this. This is also, if I was to rate this, big 10 out of 10 on this one. How about you?
Yeah, same. This and like, for some of those that don't know, because I remember if you might have watched the show for season 1 on Crunchyroll, and again that was when the whole licensing split happened. So then season 2 went on to Funimation. Well, it's all on Crunchyroll now, so you can catch up on season 2 if you've missed it. But yeah, like, this show is a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. Another solid one where it's everything I love. It's got the humor, it's got the romance, it's got all of it. I'm here for it.
All right, let's talk about the next show, which is...
Why don't you start? I think like, talking to Xell about this, or if you've been on the internet, I think Xell might have some opinions on this show. So I'd like to hear them.
So the next show we're going to talk about is Shikimori Is Not Just a Cutie.
Uh-huh.
And I think, to put it lightly, I hate the show. I think the show is hot garbage trash. I have watched 2 episodes. Crim is being sent up to purgatory right now. I'm
a masochist. I love hearing it. Just say it again. Hurt me more. Hurt me more.
The show sucks. And everyone who listens to it is or watches the show is garbage. If you like the show, you have the worst taste in all of like history, mankind. No wonder we got COVID because like, wow, the tastes are out the window right now. Shikimori. It's funny because I ranted about Shikimori last episode where, you know, I kind of talked about the relationship dynamics that I hated, and it completely rang true for me in these first 2 episodes where the main character is just he's just a dude. He's just a guy, and he's just super average and has nothing going for him, and if anything, he has the whole world against him because he has the whole like bad luck gene thing where like he's clumsy, cars want to isekai him, like it just the whole shenanigans, right? Like
Xell
everything
wants
happens
to isekai him.
Oh, I will drive that truck. I will. Oop, the brake broke. Wow.
There's 2 gas pedals on this truck, Xell.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know they made them that way. And of course, this main character is somehow in the relationship with who I believe is the next Avatar or maybe the next All Might. I'm not really sure. Somewhere in terms of power level, I think she's somewhere between Goku and Superman. I'm not really sure. But yeah, Shikimori is the main character's girlfriend, and it's like actually beyond ridiculous how much of a superhero she is. Like in the second episode, you know, they're having the sports festival and they're forced to play volleyball, and she's playing against their volleyball, like their high school's volleyball ace, and she destroys them. And Shikimori's never played volleyball in her life, but with the power of love, she makes it through and destroys
dude. Come on. All right. First off, you're making that sound like it's Interstellar, okay?
It's pretty much Interstellar.
But you're right though. But you're right. So look, I've got nothing. Go ahead, continue.
So yeah, I mean, okay, so. And like to be really clear about it, like I've been sick of this sort of relationship dynamic where it's about a guy who, you know, is like awkward, doesn't have very good social skills, but then enters here a girl who does everything, you know, like she saves him from being isekai. She unpoisons his food. She probably wipes his ass every time he takes a big doo-doo. Like, I mean, she just does it all for him. And like, I guess like season after season, yet another anime that does this. However, this one has been maybe the most egregious one yet, which is kind of crazy to say. Like, I think in comparison to the titty twisting one from a couple seasons back to the the recent one with Dress Up Darling, like I think this is my least favorite of all of them, and it has to do with the fact that like I find the main couple's relationship to be frankly insulting to watch. And so, yeah, I don't know. So, Crim, may the defendant, come up to court and rest their case.
I feel like, I don't know. Like, see, after all that, I don't think I really know how you feel about the show, though.
Oh,
good. So you don't like it?
Yeah. I guess I wasn't being very clear.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I think Xell didn't like it. All right. Well, so this, I'm just gonna spitball. I think Xell didn't like it, but here I'm gonna hit you with a curveball here. The first simp enjoys it because the first simp also. Okay, I will admit this here. The show is the main character is supposed to be Izumi Yu or you, but like I don't treat him as the main character. He is an ant that does get better in the light novel. And of course, he doesn't get better until like chapter 30. But like the thing here is I think Shikimori is the main character, and when I read this, right, I read it and I see it through her eyes and I see it through her perspective and whatnot. I love the show, right? I love the show because it's got cute moments. I won't say that that's not true of you being just like insufferably clumsy, and like yeah. It does fall right into the things that you hate, the tropes that you hate. So I see why you don't like this. As a matter of fact, I see why you absolutely hate this, right? Because they just took the trope of the helpless dude and they turned him up to 11 in helplessness, right?
Yeah.
Of course, the meter goes the other way eventually, and when it does, like there's just so many moments when you read it that like the show is about the sweet, cute moments. And that's what I like, right? Like a culmination of sweet, cute moments. Like it doesn't matter. Like example, one of my favorite scenes that I thought was just adorable was when she just literally comes from behind him, saves him from falling down the stairs, pinches his face and says, "Who said you could go home alone?" Right? And I'm just like, dude, that's cute as hell, right? Like it reminds me of like adorable teenage love. Like being younger and whatnot. And I can get down with that. And I think I like Shikimori just because she's such a badass. Like you had mentioned, she is kind of like a goddess, in that like she actually is super powered. But where else are you gonna get a clean spinning kick like that, dude? I think the difference is here.
Oh my god, I forgot about that scene where she literally jumps up, 360 kicks a falling metal sign in order to save Izumi, and I'm just like, honestly, she should be applying to Mensa. She could be a firefighter. I think she could probably try out for the Navy SEALs, get it down in her first try, like easily. Like, what is she doing being a high school student? Like, I don't understand. They should be doing medical tests on her. Like, they could be making super soldier serum out of her DNA. Like, I don't understand. Like, I didn't know we were watching the Captain America, origin story here. It actually, the superhero gene that was inserted into Captain America started from Shikimori. Unknown fact.
I believe that.
Yeah. So.
I'm okay with that. Look, okay, so here's why I love her so much though, right? People are like, how could you compare this to someone like Marin, right? Like from Dress Up Darling. Mm-hmm. And it's because they're very different. Like I like her so much more. Or it's not that how you can compare them, but how you could like her more. Marin is more of like, she's got this cute, kind of like spry attitude, right? But Shikimori is just a badass. And I love that. And as you already know from my history and taste in women, I love me some borderline war criminals and like just badass girls. I think badass girls is the attraction for me, right? And not because I see you as like a self-insert, because no one is that useless, right? But
I don't know. I've watched Tokyo Revengers, and now I'm seeing differently.
Oh God. Okay, I take that back. There are worse fates than being you. But the thing here, God, dude, how is Takemichi so bad? All right. Anyways, regardless of how terrible Takemichi is, I think Shikimori, if I watch the show and you watch this with just the expectations, there will be cheese. There's some cheesy moments here. There's the tropes here. There's a lot there. But what you're going to like get from it is Shikimori, and she's going to carry the show. The characters like Hachi is hilarious, right? These characters get better and better. And I'll say this right now that the adaptation is 50-50 with the manga or the light novel. There's a lot of things out of order.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm curious how this plays for the narrative of the story, because there are people that are here that shouldn't be here yet, and there's lots of things that are just like, it feels like they're jumping the gun to like kind of skip some chapters. And maybe, and just maybe, again, this could be a problem for if you want to watch the show. I think it's great, but I think that the show starts with them already a couple, right?
Yeah.
Starts with them as a couple, and not a lot of shows do that. And that's because they want you to have the buildup, the chemistry, to see all of that. And it's like, it feels like how the pacing of the show is right now is they're a couple, check. They're their friends, check. Like that, it kind of reads like that narrative-wise. But I think how it builds on that is going to be probably, I hope, is going to catch up to how the light novel is. Because the light novel does a very good job. And maybe because also the light novel, you can also kind of like have you in dosages, right? Like Izumi is like kind of just in dosages, and you can kind of pace it yourself. Also, how is Izumi's mom like such a MILF. Like, geez Louise. Oh my God. Like, holy, like I've never.
Damn, move
like,
over Shikimori. I'm trying to hit that mommy right there. No,
dude, I'm in love with Izumi's mom. And you know what? Like, I'm gonna cover Stacy's mom with Izumi's mom. And
Izumi's mom has got it going on.
Dude, she does though. Oh my God. And in the light novel, she's even better. I know that you may not like this, and you probably won't, because in the light novel, he still gets pretty helpless at some points, but it's just how much you can handle that. And I can tell you've probably had a boiling over with just too much of it so far from the past couple of seasons. But if you, once again, just watch it with Shikimori and think of her as the main character. She's the anchor.
Yeah, I guess it's tough because mostly so far it's through the eyes of Izumi. He's definitely like the protag of the show. And we get a little bit of insight from Shikimori, but here and there, you know, like. But I think after 2 episodes, one thing that annoys me narratively is just that there really doesn't seem to be a direction yet, right? And I think with shows that have couples that get together early, like with Horimiya and I think of what's the one with the gamer couple that's a little bit older?
Wotakoi?
Wotakoi, yeah. Like, they get into a relationship very quickly.
But I know everything so fast.
I
like this so much.
No, that's right.
I'm down catastrophically, man.
No, but like, I think one of my favorite things about those shows is that they explore relationship dynamics very quickly, and they get to the heart of what makes it hard to be in a relationship. And I think that's like the human quality that I think this show is missing. And I think when I compare this show to a different show that we're going to talk about later, I just think they represent youth in such a like a almost like a plastic wrapped way because of the tropes. Like, it doesn't resonate very well with me on like, oh, this is how I was back in high school or anything like that. Like, I'm missing some sort of like emotional link to these characters. And so far in my 2 episodes of watching this, I just feel like I'm watching this dude who is just hopelessly incapable in not like in a funny way either. It's like kind of like almost hard to watch. It's almost like cringeworthy to watch, like how helpless he is as a human being, and then having to be bailed out by this girlfriend that he has, but like their dynamic together isn't like a give and take. It's just that she is the relationship. She doesn't wear just the pants in the relationship. She is the relationship. She wears the pants, the socks, the jacket, the shirt, everything, right? Like, he doesn't present any part of the relationship. And so, like, I'm waiting to see if that's a thing. And, you know, like, the side characters so far, like, you know, the monotone girl, like, she's obviously going to be meme worthy. And I also really like Gary with the Moe Fang character too. He just looks like Gary from Pokemon with the Moe Fang, and I just love it.
I was thinking Bakugo.
Oh, he's also a soft Bakugo. Yeah, I think that's also good. So I like
Watch
this Gary
show
X
for soft
Bakugo. So I kind of just dig his character, like, because it's just kind of funny because he looks like he would be a jerk character, but he's actually very nice, and I kind of like that. But yeah, I don't know. The show hasn't hit for me.
So, like, without going on too long about it, like, I think this show has, like, from what I've seen and read so far, it just feels like the show is a lot of just, you look at a character, they're not the way they are on on the cover, and then on top of that, it feels like, you know, the story is, I guess it follows you, but it does really show how Shikimori makes him into a better person, right? To break out of his, you know, bad luck.
She can
right?
fix him.
And
she can do it all.
Whether or not you like that kind of story, right? Like, I mean, I think it's sweet. I think it's charming, right? Especially when you're young and whatnot. So, and I think that the outro credits is perfect. It has Shikimori literally doing everything, protecting him from random skateboards, random animals, all this stuff, and it looks like a platformer. And they do a really good job.
Yeah.
The animation is superb on this.
They definitely nailed the symbolism there.
I think there's two camps. So to just close out on this, there's two camps. People either hate the show because of you, and that's totally acceptable. Whether
yes,
as
because
example,
of me.
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe. But like people either hate it or they love it. And I think I'm in you have actually perfectly the two camps here. I love it. I think it's sweet. I think it's charming. It gets a lot better. I don't know. I can't speak to the anime because, as I said, it's out of order on some of the stuff. So I don't know why that is yet.
Yeah. If I was to rate this right now, this would be probably my biggest disappointment of the season so far. I'd probably rate it like a 1 out of 5. I guess that would relate to like a 2 out of 10. I don't know. The art style is great. Doga Kobo, I love that studio, but this hasn't been it for me. So that's where I'm coming from.
Fair. And the next one is Komi season 2, but that's not out yet. That comes out, I think, at the end of the month. So we have like 2 weeks because it's the 27th or something as well, because it's on Netflix. So we haven't gotten to see it yet. But at the end of the month, Netflix is going to have some bangers or end of the month and like beginning of next. So there's still, can you believe that there's still more coming?
There's still so much more to talk about here.
Right.
And yeah.
So on to the next one. So speaking of now of the ones that surprised me. Last episode, we kind of did this thing where we talked about like, how we felt about some of the new ones. And Aharen-san, like I thought this was going to be kind of like this weird lolly fest, kind of like, like people that love lollies are going to love this one, right? Because the girl looks like she's like 2 or something like that. And it's kind of weird, and it's going to have like this lurchy older high school businessman kind of thing. I don't know. But it turns out Aharen Is Indecipherable is actually hella cute and wholesome as hell. The third episode is them becoming as in the letter YouTubers, and they try to release they want to go viral, but the video they make sucks, and their dance video is hilarious. It gets 1 like, 2 views, right? And it's just an all around good show. I thought it was going to be really creepy, but it's just the animations of Aharen is hilarious. She there's moments where she spins her hair and you don't know why she does the things she does, right? Until you finally figure out, they explain it all to you at the end of the episode. Oh, that's because XYZ, because she's so short. And so there's lots here to really enjoy. I think this one is one that crept on me. It's a lot better than I thought it'd be. And I would say this is, to put it lightly, it is still a slice of life. And the main character, the dude actually isn't like a useless guy. He's the one that has the brains. And then Aharen's just awkward. And it's just funny to watch, to see them collaborate together. So if I were to give this a rating, I'd give this probably a 3.5. Like a 3.5, like a pretty solid show. Solid B minus, I think. Pretty good. So check it out if you love your slice of lives, and if you're just looking for some really cute, adorable stuff. God, this has been a goddamn cute season. I love it.
Yeah, I haven't watched this one yet. I'll give it a try. Yeah, I definitely judged the book by its cover on this one, and haven't
Same.
watched it. But maybe I'll give it a shot and see how much I like it. The next show that's on my list of things I've watched is Tomodachi Game. Have you watched some of these other shows before that?
Oh, no. I still think it says I'm quitting heroin for that one middle show, but it's not that.
That would be an anime.
The Breaking Bad anime. No, the next show on this for me is also Tomodachi, so.
So yeah, let's get into it. So Tomodachi Game is sort of the latest in death game animes, just following the likes of, say, like Platinum End and, that sort of thing.
Not talk about that shit.
Okay, we'll not talk about it anymore. But Tomodachi Game is about the sort of, it's not a death game per se, but essentially these high school kids have this large debt that they have to pay off. And to do so, they have to play these sort of cruel, trust-based games in order to reduce their debt.
Sounds familiar.
It has nothing to do, I don't know, with something that rhymes with
They should have just called this Octopus Games.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, it's basically that. And like, as dumb as the I guess synopsis sounds, like, oh god, here we go, another Squid Game type thing. I will say that I am biased towards these shows because I just think they're neat. I've been having fun watching the first 2 episodes. It's definitely got your like edgelord flavor to it with the main character. Like he does the, they're playing the trust game thing and he's like, I'm going to play the bad guy. No one will ever expect that. There's a lot of like.
I can't handle some of the internal dialogue that they have.
It's cringe. Like it's edgy cringe.
Again, you remember we talked about Streets of Rage earlier? It's definitely fingerless gloves and and like tucked in muscle shirts. Like, ugh.
Yeah, like I for sure some of the written dialogue that happens with the main character. Like you can only just roll your eyes at it. But that said, like the design of the games are fun to me, and that's what I enjoy out of these shows. And so in the first 2 episodes, we've now seen the first game, and like I thought it was interesting. I was like, I'm not gonna write this one off. However, I know that this genre of shows tends to get bad very fast. And so I would not be surprised if this gets much worse from here. But for right now, I'm going to give this show like a solid B. Like, it's not terrible. Yeah, what? It's not. I like
a B?
Yeah, like maybe like a B minus, like I don't think the show's good. But I also don't think that the show is aggressively bad. Maybe that's a C. Maybe C is better.
Yeah, I was going to say, this feels like a C, right? Like, this is by all definition, I feel like a C.
Yeah, like it's 7 out of 10, like 3.5, I guess.
Yeah, like a 3, maybe even a 2.5 or something like that. Like a 6.5, 7, whatever, right? Like, the thing here is I give this a solid C, C minus, just because it perfectly... I'm not gonna lie to you. I just feel like some of the characters are a little too cringy, but like I can get down with it, right? Like the games are fun. The only problem I have that I can see happening real soon is that this is gonna end poorly. I know this is gonna end poorly.
Oh
like,
yeah,
this just looks like it's gonna end poorly, and it is. It is Octopus Games, right? Come on, like you just take Squid Games and you put it in a classroom, right, or a little white walled room, right, like 4 walls, yada yada yada, right? Like it's okay. Like every episode of every other anime that comes out, this continues to slide down in ranking for me, just because it's like. Well, it's lower priority. I could probably watch this later, right? So, like, I don't know. This is like a C trending downwards.
Yeah, I would not. If this was a stock that you could invest in, this is not one I would recommend investing your money in. This is the opposite of stonks. For sure. Like, I think you nailed it, really. And it's just like the characters are pretty. Again, for lack of a better word, just kind of cringe. And I just watching it for like legitimately the main character is like, yeah, I'm the outcast of my friend group. They don't trust me like they trust each other because I'm poor. And then at the end of the second episode,
damn man, leave some edge on the room for all of us here. Jesus,
and then the girl comes in and she's like, I didn't trust you at first, but it's because I like you. I was like, what?
That's like not an exaggeration, listeners and watchers. That's like not an exaggeration. That's very real and true to the show.
And so, yeah, the characters are terrible. But again, I personally watch these shows like the characters don't exist. I watch them through the lens of like a game designer. And so like I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. There's like 5 idiots in a cage. They're just lab rats. I'm just here to watch the show of it, which is like the actual games. And yeah, it's like
don't know a name to a single character, by the way.
Yeah, I mean there's Edgelord, there's glasses guy with bad haircut, there's a little girl, and then there's romantic interest.
The Levi knockoff.
So yeah, that's those are the 5 characters right there.
Yeah, and that accurately puts the show together. So I mean, maybe it gets better. I don't know. We'll find out. But right now, it's a C trending down.
There's no way. But
I mean, look,
I'll keep watching it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm so biased towards these shows because I just think these. I just think they're neat. I'm just gonna repeat that.
I don't know
again.
how you're so high. You sound way higher. Like I feel like on the inside you want to give this a B, dude. I think you like this. Hey, I'm not here to yuck your yum. Hey.
Look, I'm gonna stand by it. I said Platinum End was good in the beginning too. So.
Oh man, hey, dude. You can
I'm just
take
saying,
that back.
I understand my biases. I will if you tell me that Tomodachi is a bad anime, I will probably agree with you. But I'm just saying,
you can't tell me yourself you don't think it looks bad already. It sounds
bad.
like as
It's
we're
bad.
discussing, you're trying to justify it to yourself that it might be okay.
It's like when you see a really ugly dog. But it's still a dog, so it's still a good boy, but it's just really ugly. You know, that's like how I treat it.
Okay, good. I'm glad. And at any point, you're more than welcome to take back Platinum M is good. All right, I'll forget it. I'll forget you said it.
Oh, thanks. Actually, that would be great. Let's come on to the next one that I would have liked to talk about, but it's not a Netflix jail. It's on new scale.
Disney Plus jail.
Yay! Summertime Render, which I still have no idea how this is being aired on Disney Plus. Like, legitimately, the show looks far more violent than most of the things this season. But
Yeah.
Disney Plus spreading their wings.
They're moving, but you know what? After we've watched Moon Knight. They're moving in a darker direction than what I expect on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Right? And now that they've got the Netflix, the bad boys of the Disney Plus, if you would. I think, Disney, if Disney Plus wanted to get into anime, which we already knew they did, right? Because they had Star Wars Visions. They had already opened up job listings for Marvel anime. So they're clearly trending in that direction. I'm so tired of these subscription services that are holding these shows back like 3 weeks to like a month behind its actual launch.
Yeah,
so
that's so annoying.
And we still don't know when Summertime Render is supposed to come out, like on Disney Plus.
It might be the thing where it's like we have to wait until it's all out the way Netflix used to do it. And that would be terrible. But again, it wouldn't surprise me, TBH. But what's weird to me about this is that they don't do that with any of the Disney shows, right? Like Mandalorian didn't come out all at once, I don't believe. I've been watching Moon Knight, and that comes out weekly on Wednesdays. Like,
right?
So I don't know why this is different, or maybe it's not, and just the release date's delayed. I don't know what's going on.
Disney's a small company, so they just don't have the money to buy their.
Oh my god, you can't even joke about that, dude. Like Disney could literally buy your life, Disney lawyers, they could just knock down on your door and just be like, we own you, and you'd be like, you're right, Mr. Disney.
Thank you.
Weird. Okay. I cannot fight back. So,
I'm hoping we get it soon though. So like this, because Summertime Render looks really good.
It looks really good, and some of the people have been saying it is good for however people have been watching it. So,
weird.
Yeah, maybe I'll join them in that somewhere place.
Maybe, but I heard the dubbing on this hypothetical place is off.
Oh.
The subs, I mean, like the translations are kind of whack.
Okay,
because they're all fan translated.
Yeah, in this theoretical place.
In this theoretical place that we don't know of.
Yeah. Okay. What's the next one you want to talk about?
Well, we're not watching a Couple of Cuckoos, even though that comes out soon, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean, I might just watch it because I'm going to watch it because I watch everything. I mean, I even watched some really bad stuff. So yeah, whatever. But that one doesn't look great, but we'll see. And there's, of course, Science Fell in Love. So I tried to prove it. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if it's because this season we've got so many heartwarmers and so many swooners. This show kind of just is not that great. It's like mediocre.
No.
Like right now. Like,
I think it's tough in this season, man.
Right. Maybe because like the season it came out, it wasn't Simp Spring, right? Like Simp Spring Simp Spring is stacked. And like, so your romance has to be like pretty good, right? Or at least enjoyable, or like loaded with cute moments or something, right? But I don't think it carries over into the season. So maybe it's fallen a little bit lackluster. A lot of the characters, a lot of the things, just the story doesn't seem like it's moving. And the characters don't feel like they're moving any closer, right? Like when you can kind of expect this thing where like the relationship, they're getting closer, their bond is strengthening, but I'm not getting that this season. And the way their interactions, their cutesy moments aren't actually that cute.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking up when it aired season 1, and it wasn't a low point, honestly. Like the big shows from that season were Haikyuu, and then like Doro Hidoro, Bofuri, Ishizoku Reviewers. Although that was a
nuts.
thing.
Oh wait, what are you gonna say? Are you gonna say that show's a banger, dude?
Bofuri?
Because that's yeah, that one. Yeah, that one.
But
That's
that show is a banger. And so yeah, I think in a stacked season like this, it's harder for mediocre anime to get by. You know, it's like the Walmart has showed up to crowd out the mom and pops. You know, like, and this is the mom and pop. Like, big boy Walmart, like Spy Family and Kaguya showed up. How are you gonna stand up to that? You know,
That's fair. Although actually, I feel like mom and pop spots are better than Walmart.
that's true. Actually, this metaphor
Maybe
doesn't
not
really
financially, right? But like quality of what it is better, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's a bad metaphor.
Sure.
But
I see what you were reaching for, though. Okay, I got you, dude. I got you. Yeah, like
this
season,
I was reaching, you know.
you could block flying for all you Magic players. But I think this is this season it's just too hard to like have this show, just because it just falls flat compared to the others. Speaking of like another romance show, though, moving on. I don't know unless you're watching Trapped in a Dating Sim, because I watched that. I actually watched 10 minutes and I just like, okay.
Oh no.
It's like my head hurt, and I was like, "Is this COVID, or is this anime worse than COVID?"
Nice.
And it turns out the anime might be worse than COVID. So, but like, and trust me, we just had it, so that's why we were delayed on some episodes. So, but moving on to a show that is actually fun and really surprised me is Love After World Domination. I was already gonna watch it. I was like, okay, this is probably gonna be my booby anime of the season, right? It still hits that check mark, but on top of that, it's actually funny, dude. Like the Gelato 5, like this thing is sick. And watching them try, like, so if you don't know, the premise is the main dude and is like essentially a Power Ranger. He's the Red Ranger, right? Or sorry, the Red Gelato 5 member. And
Mr. Strawberry, by the way.
Yeah, Mr. Strawberry. And their arch enemy is this girl who is, she's a sweetheart, dude. Decime is like adorable. She's this like blonde haired, but like kind of got like this like skull outfit, super edgy, right? But you know, of course, the outfit, like her underwear showing and her boobs showing. But like the thing here is their chemistry together. One's a villain, one's a hero. They're trying to balance this life where they don't want the world to know that they're dating because they can't, right? Villain and hero can't be dating. So it's just hilarious watching them try to fake not being in a relationship. Like they're fighting, and then no one's looking. Hey, what were you doing today, babe? Oh, let's hold hands. You know what I mean? I'm just like, what is going? Like the back and forth of this show gives you whiplash, dude. Like, good Lord. I love this show.
There's so many things I love about this show, and like just the world that they've built is so ridiculous, you know, like they live in a world that makes as much sense as Power Rangers does, actually. Like she's a super villain, but she has a normal person Twitter and it has like normal people time off, and she just like tweets about her cat and stuff in her free time, but she's a super villain. Like it makes absolutely no sense, but that's like the charm of the show. It really doesn't take itself very seriously. Like the superheroes are Gelato 5, and yeah, the main characters, the strawberry one, they have the cola one, they have the lemon flavored one.
The professor, dude, he's kind of pretty much like, if you've watched Astro Boy, Big Gelato is his
Gelato.
Name. Yeah.
It's so good.
He's so absurd. And like, you know, like I love, of course, like the Red Ranger, Red Gelato guy's like, you know, I've been really thinking about this girl, and he goes, yeah, do it. Who cares what the world thinks? Go for it. But he doesn't, like, Big Gelato doesn't know it's their arch enemy.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, okay, I'm going to go do it. And I also die from the fact that what's the cat name? Something Bear, right?
Culverin Bear.
Desumi's henchman, like essentially second in command. She's like the worst, dude. She leaves him to get his ass jumped by 4 other people, and they just go on a date. Like, and like I think after the 3rd or 2nd episode, they're like, "Hey, where are you going? Come back!" And she just straight ditches them, dude. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And the most recent episode, it's just like imagine this dude who like only works out and he has to just figure out how to make a date happen. So what does he make her do? Go work out and just like do all this dumb stuff. And I'm just like, this show is great.
The show like is so ridiculous, and I think again that's kind of the charm. It just takes everything up a notch. And you know, they early on they were like, oh, should we hold hands? And she's like, no, it's too early. But then they have to like play fight, and they're doing like the classic like power clash thing where they're and then they're like, ooh, wait, we're holding hands, aren't we?
Holding hands. Oh.
Like these situations that come up, they're so funny, but it's so heartwarming, and like both characters are such sweethearts, and it's so pure, I guess, and it's so dumb, but like I love it. And like the central like tension to the show about their villains is such a great mix up to the kind of like the standard Romeo and Juliet story. And
right.
I think this is such a joy. I think this is definitely like dark horse considering. Yeah, I don't know.
Is this our Vampire Dies in No Time this season?
I think it is.
Right?
I still think, by the way, Vampire Dies in No Time did not get like mentioned that it deserves. I think that show was actually a banger.
I do too. I think this show is definitely going to be that for me this season, right?
Yeah.
Like it seems severely underrated, not talked about enough.
I think it's easy to write this one off, especially when you look at the main visual for it, because it kind of has that like cheap look to the show, and I have to say even the animation in the show is pretty good. The art style sure isn't like the most like crisp looking the way say like Kaguya-Sama is. Yeah, it's like
it's just.
Yeah, it like if you were to give it a texture, it feels like it has like Vaseline on it versus like some of the other stuff
like
that's out there.
Slug. It's got this exterior layer of like mucus. Nice.
Yeah, it's just
or fish,
it's just
not a slug.
God damn it! But it's not. It like the art style for sure kind of holds it back, I think, from a lot of people's eyes. But I think it's definitely deserve a watch if you aren't watching the show. Like. I think you're missing out. I think this one is definitely a dark horse. Yeah.
So I think I give this. It's pretty funny, dude. I think I give this like a 4.
I think this is a 4, maybe even higher. I would, it's early on. I'm pretty generous with my ratings right now. I'd rather rate it high, so I'm just gonna say it's a 9 out of 10. I think this show is very charming, very fun for what it is. Is it a masterpiece show that we'll remember from forever and whatever? But like, probably not. But it's good fun, and that's as much
I think this one's like a solid like B-, right? Maybe C+ area.
B+. It's
pretty
B+.
It's pretty funny. But yeah. So moving on to the next show, we've got Ascension of a Bookworm, season 3.
Mm-hmm.
This show. I think it fell off for me in season 2, but season 3 has picked back up.
Oh.
Season 3 has picked back up, so I actually like the direction they're going with this. And this is one of those ones where I feel like it's hard to talk about without giving away a little bit too much here. So I'm going to just lightly go over this one, because this episode is going to be pretty long if we go into everyone. But yeah, Ascension of the Bookworm is a solid watch. If you liked season 1 and if you tolerated season 2, season 3 pulls it back. Season 3 pulls it back and does a very good job. So definitely check it out. It's a sweet show.
So the next show that I want to talk about, I'm going to skip a couple here, is Paripi Kome, Ya Boy Kongming. And Reddit's been all over the show, despite it being only on High Dive, which is like, who has High Dive? Do you have High?
To be honest with you, I didn't even know it existed. Or I did, and then I forgot, and then I remembered it again, and it's just like...
Yeah, it's not one of the more popular ones, right? Especially considering like Funimation and Crunchyroll united, and Netflix being the powerhouse that it is. Like, this is a lesser known streaming service, but it is home to Paripi Kome, and the show is a standout, I think, of the season. Again, if we're going with dark horses, this one is probably is it the darkest of dark horses? I don't really know how to call this one, but this show is amazing. And basically it's a reverse isekai. And instead of a person from the modern era getting transported to, somewhere fantasy land, it's a guy from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, home to many a fantasy story like Dynasty Warriors, which is where I primarily know it from. He gets transported to the modern world, and specifically Kongming. And if you guys have played I'm a huge Dynasty Warriors fan, so I recognize his character immediately. But his official name is Zhuge Liang, and he's like a tactician for the nation of Shu, and he's like a brilliant mastermind, right? Like he's coordinated some of the most amazing stratagems that were known to the Romance of the Three Kingdoms era, and he's just famous for being basically five-headed. And he gets transported into this new universe, which is the modern day, and he thinks that he's in hell. He comes in on Halloween, and he has no idea where he is. He thinks he's been sentenced to hell after losing the war. And turns out, he's just in middle of Tokyo, and he meets this girl who is a singer for a nightclub, and he's so enraptured by her singing that he decides to become her tactician. And so he learns about social media and how to manipulate the club scene, and he's just basically the homiest of homies, and he uses his war knowledge from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms and applies them to modern day living, and it's awesome. Not only that, the show is very music driven. Like I said, it's about this girl who wants to become a big time singer, and very early on in the second episode, you get into the dynamics of having to compete for performance spaces and meeting other artists and that whole thing, and social media, and so it handles modern day topics. One of the earliest gags was him asking about what a blockchain was, and it's hilarious. And so the show is very up to date with modern day and age, and seeing it through the eyes of Kongming is just hilarious. And all the characters in the show are fantastic, and I can't recommend the show enough. It's so bizarre, the sort of setup for it, but it works actually so well, and it really hinges on how well they portray Kongming himself. And he's just he's actually just the biggest homie of all time, and all he wants to do is see this girl succeed, and it's just very heartwarming because of it. And so the music in the show is mostly awesome. I'll say that it's got the Japanese dub English music, and so sometimes it can be a little off-putting, I guess, as a native English speaker. But I think that the music itself is really interesting, and so you get to see some EDM in there. You get to see the main character sing, and her songs are great. So it's kind of got that what is that one old Netflix show that aired a while back? The duo with the pianist and the guitarist.
Tuesday?
Carol and Tuesday, yeah. So
Carol and Tuesday was a banger. So
it's kind of got that vibe to it a little bit as well. Although it's less soulful the way that one was, and this one's a little more lighthearted.
Is this more comedy?
I would say it's definitely heavier on comedy, because I don't want to spoil it to you, but literally episode 2 is so ridiculous. Basically she gets a performance venue where there's multiple stages, and so she's competing right with other stages to get, and so he comes up with an idea on how to manipulate crowds to be stuck watching her and kept there because he traps them. But he knows that because she's such a good singer that if they're trapped there, they'll come to, Stockholm Syndrome and love it. And she blows up. And the way he does it is really ridiculous, and it's very funny. And this show is so absurd, but I love it. I guess that's kind of the theme, I think, of this season a little bit, is some of these really absurd shows that somehow make it work, and this is like the height of that in my opinion. I love the show, and if you don't have High Dive, figure it out. I think High Dive is pretty cheap, but there's other ways.
Yeah, like you could sail the high seas, because that's the only reason why I haven't seen it. I just haven't had access to it.
Yeah.
And without subscribing to High Dive. So I mean, I want to watch it. It seems funny. It seems kind of like right up the alley of like what I would like. So, and also one last question before we change this topic. Did you ever watch Prison School?
I don't. I've never heard of it.
Okay.
What is that about?
But hypothetically, right? If you had though, you know that dude Gaku?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Theoretically, yes. Yeah.
Is that you?
Wait, what?
Is that dude you?
Wait, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I mean, you like your figurines, right? Like he likes his figurines, especially of the old
where
like
did this
kingdoms.
come from?
Nothing. I just okay. Never mind. Maybe you'll remember. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Whatever. Move on to the next one. What else are you watching?
The last show that God, how many times can I say Dark Horse in an episode? But the last show
You like
that
Katy Perry?
Yeah, I guess I'm a fan now. The last show that I want to talk about that I think is really, really good is Danseur. This show, again, this one's animated by MAPPA, so you know that the animation is going to be good. And it's basically, again, I know we talked about the synopsis last episode, but it's about a guy who wanted to be a ballet dancer because he was wowed as a kid by it, but he was turned away from it because of essentially toxic masculinity, right? Like he wants to be seen as a guy's guy. His dad was a stuntman in action movies, so he kind of has that hanging on him as well. And his dad passes away early, and he kind of feels like he has to take up the footsteps of his dad, and he wants to look cool in front of his friends. But there's this like nagging feeling in the back of his head that he misses ballet, and he gets an opportunity to go back into it through this girl that he's kind of into. And and so through the power of simpitude, he's drawn back into the world of ballet, and he's having to handle this like weird dynamic, right? Of like, I know I want to do this thing, but I also feel like I want to be cool in front of other people. And so it tugs at this kind of, I think, identity crisis that he has. And I think this show, so a couple things I like about it. The art style is really unique. It reminds me of old school, like early 2000s, late 90s shoujo manga. And it has that kind of like...
Definitely
unique,
has that vibe.
Yeah, like super dark and long eyelashes on characters. Very
also
skinny.
lanky necks and like just bodies, right? Like they all kind of look like Gumby, like Gumby bodies.
They took all of them and just yoinked them up. They're like stretched out like a, But I think what makes this show stand out to me more so than anything is I feel like they nailed what it's like to be a teenage boy. And I think like the main character is such a stinky little straight boy who just like has such a deep crush for this girl but doesn't want to admit it. And then at the same time, like that whole notion of like wanting to look cool for your family and your friends, and like this idea that like maybe you don't want to show that you like something because of how others might perceive you. And I think these are things that are very like in it to puberty and like kind of like the coming to age. And so like, I think this show, more than a lot of these other shows about high schoolers, I feel like this one really nails the high school experience of like that fear of not fitting in and that fear of like standing out in a way that you really did not want to. And for that reason, I think the show is just like fantastic. And I think there's like also a side of me, because like, I'm somebody with a classical music background. There's like a part of me that just really appreciates, kind of like the fine arts side of it as well. Like ballet, for anyone who doesn't know, isn't something that it's not easy. And in fact,
oh no,
like
God, no.
99% of people will never be able to even attempt ballet. You know, it's like trying to enter the NBA as someone who's not 6 feet tall. You know, like you have to have a body type. You have to get into it young. Like there's so many like
you
prerequisites.
Have to train your joints and all of that too. Like it's so brutal. Like watch, because I have a friend that actually he does ballet.
Yeah.
And he's done it he does it professionally.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, dude, how are you able to like do that? And he's like, you got to stay nice and like loose. And I'm just like, oh man, that sounds painful.
Dude, I would love to see you recommend the show to him, and I would love to get his reaction to the show because like this reminds me of a old movie called Billy Elliot, which I mentioned before, but again, I'll mention it again. It's about the same thing, about a boy who feels ostracized for his love of ballet. And fun fact, again, it's Ya Boy Spider-Man who plays the main boy in that, but it's from a long time ago. What's his name? I can't remember names.
Tom
Holland, yeah.
Yeah, Tom Holland. I was going to say Tom Hiddleston, but that's Loki.
But yeah, Tom Holland is actually the ballet guy in Ballet Kid in that movie. So it gives me that kind of vibe, and like I'd be so curious, you know, to see the thing, because it's funny. He starts ballet as a kid, but he quits, and he's having to like relearn things, and it's hard on his body, and he's got that like classic ballet teacher who's like just so viciously hard on him, and like, you know, there's just classic ballet teacher stuff.
I was watching that, and like the instructor and all of that, like that's pretty accurate, right? Like because they have to be strict, right? Because from like talking to my friend, like it's always just been a very strict like world to be in. The discipline is absurd for ballet. So like I was watching this myself. I think that it's definitely got some of the things that you had mentioned, like just like especially with ballet, right? That's like growing up and if you were like a male cheerleader or something like that, or like example, I was a closet weeb, right? I never talked about my open love for anime and all of that stuff, right? So like there's so many things that you're definitely spot on there. They do a good job of capturing like what it's like to be a teenage boy in high school, and so just with so many insecurities. So like they do a good job. So far from the episodes I've seen, it's just been okay for me. I've enjoyed it, like, but it's like not the best thing I've seen this season. It's not cute enough.
The main girl and the main guy has such good like.
That's the reason why I'm watching it. Like I'm watching it to see where that goes. But like right now it's just okay. Like if I were to rate this, I think currently I give it about a 3 out of 5 or a 7. Like it's perfectly fine. Like I think it's a slow build. You got to admit it's a very slow build.
It's slow, but it gets to the point right away from episode 1. I actually think this show has had one of the better starts to anime. Like it very clearly early on tells you what the main character is about, what his struggles are, and you know what the focal point of what the whole show is. And I honestly think anime has a lot to learn with just having strong first episodes with getting to the point of the main tension with the characters. And I think this show, from a script writing level, I just feel like it just does the pilot episode so well, and I really liked how it's developing. So personally, if I was to rate it, I think this show's like, oh God, do I rate it a 10? Like I legitimately think this show's masterful right now.
Handing out aces over here, dude. Handing out aces.
I'm just that professor everyone loves. I'm just saying, but I just I think this show's fantastic. I'm surprised because like, again, so many anime shows tend to have really weaker starts. I think I'd be curious to go back through our old ratings and see how I rated things. But this season overall, kind of just to wrap up things a little bit, I don't know if you have more stuff you wanted to talk about, but I think that a lot of these early episodes for a lot of these shows have been really good. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I'll admit, like, for a show about ballet, something I don't care about, right? Like, that I don't personally find entertaining, they were able to have me still stay and, like, watch the show, right? Like, so it's not like it's bad by any means. I think it's fine. I think it's worth the watch. I just want to see where it goes. That's all. Right now, it's a little slow for me. That's all. And
it's because you're only watching it for the romance. It's more than just romance, Crim.
What do you mean? It's Simp Summer,
romance.
Simp Spring. What do you mean? That doesn't make any sense to me.
When Crim looks at anime, okay, I'm gonna go down the my anime list. This is how Crim sees it. The Rising of the Love Hero. Huh, interesting. Love Family. Okay, interesting. Oh, ultra romantic. I like that show. Shikimori is not just a waifu. Okay. Komi can't love. Okay.
Yes,
I'm quitting heroin.
Wow, what are my hobbies? Love and heroin.
Summertime loving. Science fell in love. Love after world domination. Ascendance of a Bookworm. Ya Boy Kongming.
Dude, like, I don't know. I mean, is it? That's kind of just what I would want from this show, right? Like, because if I myself can't hold on to ballet personally, they have to then present ballet to a point where, like, okay, even like a noob can enjoy this, right? Like a noob, like, and they've done a good enough job because at least I'm still watching. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool. It's just
I'm curious because, like, I'm not a ballet nerd by any means, but I probably am more biased towards appreciating it more than the average person, just because, like, it's ties
and
with
the
classical music. Yeah.
Right. So, like, and like for me, look at me. Do I look like a classical guy?
Do I look like a classical guy?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
It's the circular frames, just you feel like a guy who's like, long day at the office, holds tea. Babe, can you slap on the records, please? Thank you.
I need this answered in the YouTube comments. I need to know, is that my energy? Is that my, like, people do Twitter?
You seem like a very well-refined guy, right? Like, I mean, I've said it before, right? Like, you seem like a well-refined guy.
I'm investing in teacups.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't have it already, to be honest with you. And, like, you just seem like someone who would love the appeal of classical, the jazz, the finer things. So, you've got that. But also you're like, but you're not afraid to throw a few spin kicks to some Red Velvet, some BTS. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what I'm getting from this. But maybe I'm off my mark here. But I think I get that vibe from you, or maybe because I know you play violin. So, but legitimately, I just, that's the problem, right? Like when you look at ballet, the ties are to the classical stuff, and I don't really pay attention. That part of I already forgot what it was called. It was that one other music anime that ended with it being about a freaking video game, Tact Op Destiny. Okay, so like it was cool that they played some classical stuff there, but like, that wasn't like an appeal to me. I just like that it had to do with music and like some monsters and stuff like that. So, but so like this show seems like it's worth a watch. I think they've got to find a way to pull me in on ballet a little bit more if it's not about the love. So, and then lastly, I think the only other thing I wanted to talk about is something that isn't out yet, because Vampire in the Garden still looks hella good.
Oh, yes.
That looks so good. It's done by Wit Studio. Please go watch this trailer. I cannot stress it enough. You've got time. I don't think it comes out on Netflix until like mid next month. But
it says May.
Yeah. But it looks so good, dude. Like, this trailer is fire. Please don't let me down like Fenna. Please don't let me down like Fenna.
The thing is that this is going to be a movie? Question mark? Is this like, or is this a show?
Movie, show, whatever it is, it looks good.
It looks so good. I mean, this trailer is stunning. Yeah. So,
yeah, like that's like the only thing left for me to figure out what's going to be considered a banger. That and like Summertime Render, and of course Kongming, but like Vampire and God, it just looks so good, man. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me and what I want to talk about from this season. So like, why don't we go ahead and with some like closing thoughts? What is your pick for anime of the season this season? Like for right now, currently going with what we've got.
That will have to be Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
fair.
so I think that one. No,
Okay, don't say that. People will believe you, okay?
so my money is with Spy Family. Like, if I was a betting man, I would say Spy Family is a easy pick for me to be a front runner of this. But TBH, dude, I think it's so hard to say. Like, we have essentially what could be like 5 anime of the year contenders in the same season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, Spy
like
Family
of the genre. Like of like also like yeah.
I just mean in general, right? Like, Spy Family looks so good. Kaguya-Sama seems so good.
Right.
Tomodachi Game probably is not that good. But
I was like, hold on, where are you going with this? Calm down.
but Paripi Komi has also been really fantastic. And I'm biased, but Danseur has been fantastic. And so you have these shows that I think really have a high ceiling to where they can hit. And so I don't know. I think it's got to be up between those 4 shows for me about what is going to be the front run. And that isn't even to say, like, we don't even know. Komi-san and Summertime Render could also throw that in for, they haven't even punched their tickets yet. So I don't know, man. This is such a stacked season of anime.
Yeah. I think for me, like, so far, I'm feeling like it's got to be Spy Family, dude. And I give it a few weeks, then everyone will be like, oh, mid or mid family, like, because that's how the anime community goes. It gets popular. It's good.
You like it? It's mid.
Yeah, it's mid. It's mid. Oh, Mid Kaizen? Yeah, I love Mid Kaizen. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah, good one. That's original. So, tell me about your superior anime taste. Ha ha ha. Dude, oh my God, yes. Also, if you haven't seen Kotaru Lives Alone, please watch that.
Yeah,
please watch that.
Maybe we should round up some of these Netflix anime and do a Netflix anime episode, because like some of the shows, because they don't neatly fall into the seasons the way like these other
like
traditional
not in
shows.
The seasons. They're like on their own release schedule.
Yeah, it's bizarre. So he's one of my favorite characters in that show, and
we don't have any nervous laughters. You know what we're doing. You know what we're doing if you've seen Kotaru.
If you know, you know. But yeah, so gosh, we have our work cut out for us, because this season there's a lot of shows that are like I think we'll come back to and talk about more later down the line. But then we have, again, we want to review that new one-shot manga that came out from the Chainsaw Man author. And then, a Netflix episode where we talk about all the great anime that have been recently coming out on Netflix. So that I think deserves an episode as well. So we've got a bunch of content lined up for you guys on top of something else.
Well, all of that is true, but then I forgot to mention, the biggest underperformer for me was RPG Fantasy Real Estate.
Oh yeah, we never talked about our biggest disappointments.
I watched that show with it in mind being like cute girls doing cute things, but it was just literally lolly fest. 69 420, like it was nonstop. I was like, okay, so there's not a lot. There's randomly fan service. It's kind of creepy, and like I mean, I like the real estate part of it, right? Because some of it is that sounds
ballet. No,
God, am I getting
real
old?
estate?
Am I getting old? Jesus, but legitimately, they were just like, hey, I know you just want to move into this new fantasy neighborhood, but check this out. We have this really awesome house. It's located in a tree stump. And I'm like, this is hilarious. I love this. And then the fan service happened. I'm like, come on, man. And then more fan service started happening. And I'm just like, dude, I don't need to see her chest pressed up. Come on. I want you to sell a house to like a centaur or something like that. That's dope, dude.
Yeah. That would be dope. When you say it like that, like the idea is good, but the fan service of lollies.
The execution was so bad. It's so monka, but the premise is there. Like, this show is clearly not it, but can we get an anime like that though? Because I want to see a realtor who sells homes in like a fantasy, but like sells it to different like tribes. Like, so we'll sell it to a centaur. We'll sell it to a gnome. We'll sell it here, right? Like, it won't house anyone.
Big giant tentacle monster.
Yeah, sure. Get them a house, right? Like, dude, put this anime on HGTV or Lifetime, whatever, I would be down with that, dude. Like, this is like, that was the big appeal for me. And when I tuned into it, it was starting off perfect, and then it got all pervy, and it was like, oh man, time and a place. There's a certain, I'm obviously, I'm not like a prude guy, or like, trying to say down with fan service, because clearly that is not true. But yeah, biggest underperforming for me.
It's pretty clear what I think is the biggest underperformer for me. But
Don't
that
say
said,
it. You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it. I believe you. I know.
I'll spare Crim's heart.
Thank you.
His frail heart. I don't want to,
My heart is not just a cutie, all right? Gotta give me a minute here.
But yeah, that's gonna wrap up this episode. Thank you guys all for listening in, and I'm curious what you guys think of this season of anime, because again, I think me and Crim are in, unanimously, I think we think that this season is fantastic, and there's so much good stuff to watch, and a lot of it is just great, and only might get better. So let us know what you guys think in the comments. And again, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in to our little Weeb podcast here. So, I mean, the best podcast you'll ever listen to.
Yeah. We're the only anime podcast that
only
exists.
one.
And the best one.
And
so,
the best one.
Crunchyroll, you're welcome. You can sponsor us if you want. We'll allow it.
Yeah, anyways, thanks you guys so much for watching and tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time. So, peace out.